Good evening, council members. The meeting is now being recorded.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome to the November 11th, 2024, 6 p.m. regular joint meeting of the Bell Garden City Council and Successor Agency to the Community Development Commission. The meeting will now come to order at 6:13 p.m. Members of the public may view and listen to the meeting live online through the city's website as noted on the agenda. If any of the members should have a conflict of interest, please announce any item you are recusing from due to a conflict of interest prior to the item being heard. Tonight's invocation will be given by Chief Camacho, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by City Manager Michael O'Kelly.
Lord, thank you for allowing everyone present to meet again to discuss every matter with open minds, enable us to unite our differences and uphold the rights of others. May our decisions bring truthfulness and blessings for the future and for the betterment of this community. Amen.
City Clerk, please call roll of the members of the City Council and Successor Agency.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Members of the council and successor agency, Chavez. Council member Sanchez.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Barcena
Present.
and Mayor Gomez.
Present. We will now move to the presentations. City Manager, please introduce the presentations.
Thank you, Mayor Gomez. As everybody knows, today is November 11th, Veterans Day, where we recognize those that have given service to the country through military service, through Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard. And today we're recognizing a longtime Bell Gardens resident, Mr. William Gutierrez. And before we ask Mr. Gutierrez to come to the podium and for the mayor to read the proclamation, I'd like to turn it over to our Recreation Community Services Director, Liz Nava, to speak a little bit to Mr. Gutierrez's service and experience. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. O'Kelly. Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. It is my great pleasure to introduce to you longtime resident William Gutierrez. He moved here to Bell Gardens in 1972 and raised both his boys here, and they both attended Bell Garden schools from elementary through Bell Gardens High School. Will actually ran for city council back in the day. I think we have some pictures. Do we have some pictures, Daisy? So you can see a throwback of Will from his heyday, and he's very proud that he was the only Latino to run back in the day. He came in third, but he was honored to represent the community back then. Will served in the United States Air Force from July 6, 1951 through September 1st, 1971. He was an E6, a technical sergeant, and he worked as a missile mechanic until he became a recruiting officer, which he remained until he retired in 1971. But shortly before his retirement, Will was honored with a commendation and received a medal for exemplary service from the United States Air Force that you can see up in the picture as well. And after he retired, he didn't stop there. He went back to school and got his BA in political science with a minor in history from Cal State Dominguez Hills. And then he was recruited into a life insurance company shortly after that. And he worked until he opened his very own insurance company here in Bell Gardens called the Bell Gardens Insurance Agency. He sold his business in 1991, but he didn't stop there. He was hired by the state of California to work in the unemployment office. And he worked with individuals to submit unemployment claims to help with finding jobs. And he was very proud that while he was working in the state, he served in bargaining unit number 1. And he had the privilege to travel to Sacramento and sit at the table with the governor And during his time in the bargaining unit, they were successful in getting FMLA benefits approved by the state, which is a huge accomplishment. Will was also a member of the California State Retirees Association, and through that association, he applied for and was selected to partake in what's known as the Honor Flight, the Tour of Honor, where veterans get selected to fly to Washington, D.C. and visit memorials at Washington, D.C. And you can see his certificate he received for that as well. And upon his return, he was welcomed by hundreds of people waving American flags and welcoming him home. And he's here today to receive the proclamation from you, Mayor, and he's very proud to be a longstanding Bell Gardens resident and United States veteran.
Mayor, at this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Gutierrez to come to the podium, and the mayor will read out the proclamation, and then we'll have you say a few words, Mr. Gutierrez. Thank you.
Whereas Veterans Day has its origins in the November 11th, 1918 armistice, which brought World War I to a conclusion, and whereas the Allied victory of World War I affirmed the strength of great nations acting together for high purposes, and whereas the people of the United States caused through their elected representatives the designating of November 11th as a federal legal holiday, which in 1954 became officially known thereafter as Veterans Day. And whereas Veterans Day continues to be celebrated and commemorated with solemn observances in honor of all Americans who have served their country in times of war and conflict, and whereas Veterans Day has become a significant part of our American heritage, as we recognize the millions of our citizens whose military service has had a profound effect on history. And whereas the courage, honor, sacrifice, and dedication which veterans of the United States Armed Forces have displayed in the cause of justice, freedom, and democracy are most worthy of recognition. And whereas we appreciate and honor all City of Bell Gardens residents and City of Bell Gardens employees that have served all branches of our military, and whereas we recognize William Gutierrez, decorated United States Air Force recruiting officer and missile support equipment repairman and 52-year resident of Bell Gardens. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Gabriela Gomez, Mayor of the City of Bell Gardens, along with the Bell Gardens City Council, hereby call upon all citizens to commend America's veterans and observe Monday, November 11th, 2024 as Veterans Day, and ask all citizens to honor those who have served to preserve our principles of justice, freedom, and democracy, proclaimed this 11th day of November, 2024. And it's signed by me, Gabriela Gomez. Would you like to say a few words, sir?
I just want to thank Liz for her bringing this to our attention. It's something I never expected, and I'm honored. Of course, that's an understatement. And being a resident of Bell Gardens all these years, to be honored like this is beyond anything I may have even thought about, dreamed about. Some of my family is not here today, and I have to say this because we went to my sister's birthday party today. Today she's 94 years old, and she couldn't make it. And I told my wife, who's sitting behind me, Gigi, I said, well, you know what? Not too many people at 94 are going to get ready for a party, so to speak. And so she couldn't make it. They were tired today. We celebrated her birthday at their place. And I'm expecting my other brother, my older brother, who's going on 93. And he'll be here, I hope, short. No, he couldn't make it. I'm sorry, he couldn't make it. It's other friends of ours that got stuck in traffic, and they should be here in any minute now. And and so again, so my sister's baby brother, who's oh, that's me, isn't it, Liz? Who's 90, was able to make it with his wife, Gigi. So I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for this honor. Thank you.
Does anyone have any comments? before we go take a picture? Okay, let's go take a picture.
Mayor, a member of the family wanted to speak. Are you okay with that?
Yes, of course.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cookie Gonzalez. I'm a state service, works for the state of California. I want to point out too that William served as a state service for over 20 years. So imagine, this is a triple honor, and we are friends way before I became an employee of the state of California. And he's an example of how a human being shall be. He's the best friend, the best citizen. At his age, he just went with us to Puerto Rico to celebrate my mom's 90 years. 90-year numbers, age is just number, okay? While you're still breathing, you can do a lot of things. He's been in Philippines recently, in Canada, Puerto Rico. He's been all over with the same grace. He served his friends, the community. He's very, very active. And I'm so glad that you took up on your time to honor this man that he's well deserved. Very proudly the United States of America. And while we were kids, he was watching over us. So thank you for honoring him. Thank you for allowing us from the city of Carson to visit you. And this is gonna be all over, William. Thank you so much.
Okay, we will now move on to public participation for items not listed on the agenda. Public participation is, sorry? Okay, public participation is now open. City Clerk, please announce the instructions for public participation.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of the public will now have an opportunity to speak on items not listed on the agenda. Please state your name for the record before addressing your comments. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes, subject to an overall 30-minute period. Callers wishing to make a comment may do so at this time by dialing *9 from your phone, and when instructed, dial *6 to unmute yourself. Individuals joining through Zoom may make a request by using the raise hand feature and select the unmute or microphone icon when instructed. We will first hear from speakers that are in person, and we did not receive any written communication.
Thank you. Our first speaker is initials B.
All right, here we are. We're all back. It's a new day, a golden age we're going into. Yes, sir. I want to congratulate Mr. Will Gutierrez. I'm a close friend, or was a close friend of his son, who I helped run his campaign for Downey School Board, and he was over there for 16 years. We grew up in Bell Gardens together back when it was called BG, Billy Goat Acres. Yes, I am your native son, believe it or not. Most of the friends of mine that were Latinos, you would call them pochos today, but no, they were Americans. They were red-blooded, patriotic Americans, and we all got along just fine. We had Okies, Arkies, Indians, Mexicans. It was like reading Steinbeck. You know, if you could follow a lead with that, that's what Bell Gardens was like. But anyway, it's a new day, and there's going to be some changes, obviously, but I'm always happy and honored to bring some diversity to the conversation. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't have any in here, but maybe that's going to change a little bit. We have a new, two new council members, Mr. Miguel de la Rosa, young man. You finally got rid of the lady from Downey. I mean, what a scam that was. Unfortunately, Miss Gomez is going to be gone. Many people say a lot of nice things about her. They say she is one of the most intelligent people they know in the Southeast LA. And I'll just leave it at that. We may disagree about everything probably, but that's okay. That's all right. But we want to move in another direction. Obviously, there's a mandate afoot, and the only reason that we're concerned about that as far as taxes and term limits, those are important issues. You've voted on your term limits recently back in 2022. I think it was a mistake to go 3 terms. You should have only stayed with 2. Serve 2 terms, go get a job after that, do something else. We want smaller government. And anyway, we're going to have another young lady, Isabel Guillen. Don't know much about her, but maybe things are going to change a little bit. Hopefully, the new people have backbone and have some courage to stand up and say no to things like you all should have. You should have said no to the pot shops in Downey. And you ignored the people. Anyway, let's have some changes and we'll have some lively discussions. Thank you.
Next speaker is Tina Perez.
Hello, my name is Tina Perez. I am here to advocate for my son Fabian Martinez, who lost his life Sunday, July 14th, 2024 at 9:25 p.m. on the corner of Eastern and Mueller due to a drunk driver hit and run. The holiday season is upon us, and unfortunately, this brings increased drunk drivers. I am asking the city of Bell Gardens to protect its residents with DUI checkpoints. For added support to the community, I am also asking that the city of Bell Gardens, along with the police department, get involved with MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. I ask that they be introduced at the schools, night out events, domestic violence sites, and all community events. I also ask that they host a walk awareness for victims. Victim Services, Southern California office, phone number is 714-838-6199, extension 6672. The advocate name is shamari.sanchez@mad.com.org or @mad.org. And I really plead with you guys to look out for public safety. not only during this holiday season, but all year long. My son will never come back. You get to go home to spend the holidays with your relatives and your loved ones, and I don't. I'll never get to see my son again. I strongly ask that you put more police out there, better lighting, cameras on the lights. Please do your job. Thank you.
If there is no objection by members of the City Council Successor Agency, I will close public participation for non-agenda items. City Clerk, please announce the instructions for public participation for items listed on the agenda.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of the public will now have an opportunity to speak on items listed on the agenda. Please state your name for the record before addressing your comments. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. Callers wishing to make a comment may do so at this time by dialing *9 from your phone, and when instructed, dial *6 to unmute yourself. Individuals joining us through Zoom may make a comment by using the raise hand feature and select the unmute or microphone icon when instructed. We will begin to hear from the members of the public that are physically present in the chamber, and we did not receive any written communication.
Thank you. We have one speaker, initials BC.
As Pauly Shore would say, I'm back. I know I'm not very quick anyway, but I'm dealing with a little sciatica situation. I'm on the tail end of it, but hey, life is full of ups and downs. I want to focus on your local commission's appointment list. Let's see if the Bell Garden City Council can have a change of direction in appointing people on your commissions. People that are going to be business friendly, sincerely business friendly. Talking about lowering taxation and working things through the planning commission and things of maybe start pushing ideas that rollback of regulations would be helpful to small businesses and economic growth. Maybe people that would be more fossil fuels friendly. That's what we need. Your wind and solar doesn't get it done. You know that. Everybody knows that. Europe knows that. We need fossil fuels. So start changing and moving in a different direction. We want drill, baby, drill. Fossil fuels is what fuels our economic growth. Fossil fuels can bring lower energy costs too and bring inflation down. It could bring the cost of products because they're related. If we have more energy independence, we will have lower energy costs, and that will lead to lower prices in the stores. That's how the economy works. Now in Downey, we have a big mistake. They give lip service that they're friendly to businesses, but they just decided to raise our sales tax again. Of course, you all decided to vote for Measure A for the county side because you'll do whatever Janice Hahn tells you. So we're going to get a 0.50 cent raise in sales tax there, and Downey's going to do another 0.25. So we will be at 10.50. Now that is not good for business. You keep raising the sales tax because you want money. Lower regulations, lower the taxation. People will spend more money if you put more of their money in their pocket. The market will work. It's worked before. But if you keep coming up with these oppressive taxes, people aren't going to spend it, or they're going to go somewhere else. They'll go to Cerritos, or they'll go to Orange County in some cases. So appoint people on your commissions and start having a different outlook on things, because things are changing. They're clearly changing, and there's a mandate out there for change. Don't be resistant to it. Thanks.
Thank you. And before I close public participation, I did want to address Ms. Perez. I am very sorry for your loss, and thank you for bringing that up to us today regarding contacting MAD and partnering with them to help keep our streets safe, especially now during the holiday season. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. And I'm sure that our Chief Camacho already has plans for checkpoints for the holiday season. So we'll make sure that those get done. Thank you. And if there is no objection by the members, I will close public participation. City Manager, will you please give your report?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Gomez. It's been a busy last 2 weeks since the previous council meeting. On October 31st, we had our Halloween Dia de los Muertos event. Well attended, I think in the 3,000 to 4,000 range. The DJ was great, the contests were great, the resident participation was great, trunk or treat. I think on all cylinders, everything was firing right on point. Great event. So just want to thank the council, the residents and stakeholders that came out, all the departments, Recreation Community Services, Police Department, Public Works. The city clerk's office had a trunk or treat going out there as well. So great event. Another one, I think, in a line of really good events that have gone on this year. And there's a couple more coming up here too. Want to mention on Fridays, just always we have a resident art and yard sale at Veterans Park from 11 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Also want to mention November 5th, obviously was election day. There was a presidential election and there were county items, state items specific to the city of Bell Gardens. There were council seats that were up. I want to thank the clerk's office for months of working with candidates, FPPC, making sure everything was done in accordance with all the regulations. Recreation Community Services for hosting 2 in-person voting centers for multiple days at both locations without any serious events. Public Works for helping set things up, the police department for making sure everybody was safe out there. So I think from a local perspective, the election operationally went off great. On a going forward basis, mention a few things on November 12th, which is tomorrow at the Neighborhood Youth Center. There's an art exploration program with a focus on paper mache from 4 to 6 p.m. There's also on Wednesday, November 13th, there's a Thankful Art program at 4 p.m. at Veterans Park, Ford Park, Neighborhood Youth Center, and Marlowe Park. So if somebody wants to be thankful and express that through art, there's multiple locations for you to be able to do that. There's also on November 13th, there's a Neighborhood Watch community meeting at Ross Hall from 5:30 to 7:30. And I think of particular interest, there's a presentation on tracking bracelets. So if somebody has a family member, a neighbor, or somebody that's at risk of potentially getting lost through developmental disability, autism, Alzheimer's, things of that nature, this would be a good Neighborhood Watch meeting for you to attend. If you know anybody that would be applicable to. That again is on the 13th, Wednesday at Ross Hall. November 19th and 20th, we have our rent stabilization workshops for property owners on the 19th, for tenants on the 20th. Saturday, November 23rd, Family Fishing Derby. I think that's a unique event since we happen to have some ponds here at Ford Park. I know it's a popular event with the fishing crowd. It's from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. So it's one of those wear your sweater in the morning, hopefully catch some fish, and then probably be in a t-shirt by 11:30. That's on Saturday, November 23rd. November 28th is Thanksgiving. City Hall is closed on that day. Always want to recognize the employees that are still working on those days. Public Works, Police Department, Recreation Community Services. Even though City Hall is closed, we still have a significant portion of the staff out there working throughout the city. Monday, December 2nd, it's already that time of year. We have our tree lighting ceremony at Veterans Park. So this will be the second year that we have our big tree there in front of the Veterans Monument. That is at 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Last year was a really, really good event. If you go back and look at some of the video and that, we should be able to build on the attendance from that event as well. We'll still have decorations throughout the city, at our monuments, in front of City Hall, banners out on the major thoroughfares, and always looking to add more light. So I'll talk with the Public Works Director about if there are any other opportunities where we have safe power that we can hook into to put some more decorations out. And then on December 9th, which is the next council meeting, the one that we would normally have in 2 weeks is dark due to Thanksgiving. At that council meeting, we'll start with the conducting of city business on the agenda. Then we'll move into swearing in the new council and council members, and then there'll be a selection for the mayor and the mayor pro tem positions. And the final thing that I just want to mention is the outdoor fitness center, if you will, at Veterans Park. You can see there's a lot happening over there. It looks like it's really ready to be worked on next Saturday. So in about 4 days, they're going to finish up the rubberized coating for the group exercise equipment there. And I think that'll be up and running with all of the instructions on how to use the equipment just prior to Thanksgiving, so people can get ahead of their eating in advance. And with that, I'll turn it back over to you. And thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. We will now move on to the consent calendar. Does any member of the council successor agency wish to pull an item for separate discussion? Okay, seeing none, I will now call for a motion to approve items number 1 through 10 of the consent calendar. May I have a motion?
So move.
Second. Okay, we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Barcena and a second by Councilwoman Sanchez de Leon. City Clerk, please call a roll call vote.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Members of the council and successor agency, Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Sanchez.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Barcena
Yes.
and Mayor Gomez.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, so we will now move on to the local commission's appointment list.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The local commission's appointment list is staff's recommendation that the council review the commission's appointment list and by motion remove and or make appointments to the posted vacancies. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Does any member of the council have any changes to make? Okay, so seeing none, we will move on to item number 12. City Manager, will you please announce discussion item number 12?
Yes, thanks again, Mayor Gomez. This item is for the city council to consider an appointment to the Greater Los Angeles County Vector Control District. This is for a term that is either 2 or 4-year term of office. Commences at noon on the first Monday of January 6, 2025. The meetings are held monthly, the second Thursday at 7:30 p.m. This is an appointment that would be made for either one of the council members here or potentially could also be made for a resident. The current seated appointment is a resident, a former council member. And with that, I'll turn it over to the city clerk in case she wants to add any more detail before the council considers this recommendation. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, City Manager. So I will state that the Vector Control Board reached out to us. They are going to have a meeting in January 6th to have a representative seated representing the city of Bell Gardens. So if we don't have someone given to them of who the council elects, then we won't have any representative. And then on another note, just want to make sure that you know that once the appointment is made, it can't be changed until the next term that council approves. And right now it's either a 2 or 4-year term. And if there's any questions that I can answer.
And Daisy, just to clarify too, the current representative that's on the Vector Control District has expressed interest in remaining on the district as well.
That is correct, yes.
Thank you.
A question is there an alternate for this or?
There is no
alternate,
alternate.
okay.
No, it's only one representative.
Well, I just want to say that I'm interested in this, but I would be giving up something else that I'm working on, like personal time. So if anyone else is interested and is able to do it, I would prefer that. Otherwise, I can take care of it if no one else is able to.
I'm unable to. I already have ICA that meets on the same day and the same time, so I wouldn't be able to do it. But if you're open to it, I would be happy. for you to do it.
I would support if you want to do.
Okay, so then I'll make a motion for Councilmember Barsina to be appointed to the Vector Control District for a 2-year term.
I'll second. City Clerk, please conduct a roll call vote.
All right, thank you. So I have a motion by Councilmember Sanchez and a second by Mayor Gomez. Members of the council and successor agency, Chavez.
Aye.
Thank you. Councilmember Sanchez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Barsina,
Yes.
and Mayor Gomez. Thank you. Motion passes for the 2-year term.
City Manager, please announce discussion item number 13.
Yes, thanks again, Mayor Gomez. This next item is a project update for currently the biggest infrastructure project that the city has going on. Maybe the largest infrastructure project the city has ever had going on from a dollar perspective, in the $31 million range. Staff committed to bringing a quarterly update to council as this project progresses, in addition to social media posts and other updates that we provide to residents and members of the public and the council as well. So that'll turn it over to our Public Works Director, Bernie Iniguez, to provide the quarterly update to the council. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. O'Kelly. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. I'll go ahead and start with some of the conceptual imagery so we can get a visual image of the project itself. So here we see conceptuals of what the front of the main building would look like. Here on the left, we see the 50-meter competition pool, and on the right, we see the therapy pool. These two images show the activity pool, which also includes a water play area for kids. Here on the left, we see the fitness room that's going to be constructed, and on the right, we see the breezeway with some of the lockers that will be built. And here we see the amphitheater with some of the terrace grass seating. Here's an overall aerial image of what the completed project will look like with all of its elements, including the 3 pools. Just some brief background. On January 22nd, the City Council awarded a construction contract to Bernard's for a total contract amount of roughly a little over $26 million. On May 24th, the contractor completed the remediation of asbestos and lead-containing materials. On July 5th, they completed the demolition activities, which then cleared the way for construction to begin on July 8th. So I'll go ahead and talk about progress with all the elements, starting with the design team. RGM Design Group completed the project plans, the specifications, and the estimate. They completed the plans, which were also approved by all the necessary agencies. And RGM has continued to review project submittals and requests for information throughout the project. So they are an integral part of the construction management team. Also, Ardura was contracted as the city's construction management and inspection firm, and it has completed the following items. It has conducted a constructability review. It prepared the request for qualifications to pre-qualify the potential bidders. It prepared an updated construction cost estimate for the project. It reviewed construction bids for compliance with the specifications. It also coordinated the pre-construction meeting. It has conducted necessary inspections, and it has also conducted the weekly construction progress meetings. Again, Bernard's is the main construction contractor. They were awarded the construction contract, and they have completed the following items to date. They have pulled the permits for the project. They completed the mobilization, which included the construction fencing, the construction trailer, and also bringing the temporary power, not just to the construction site, but also to the main building where the Director of Recreation resides. They also, again, completed the remediation and demolition. They have completed the clearing and grubbing of the entire site. They removed the underground fuel storage tank from the site. They completed the rough grading activities and excavation for the undergrounding of utilities. They completed the installation also of the electrical conduits under the aquatics building footprint. They also poured the concrete for the surge chamber room, which included the walls themselves. They also completed the installation of an 8-foot tall black vinyl coated chain link fence This is actually at the rear or at the south of ball field number 5, along with the new walkway. The contractor completed the installation of site water lines, storm drain lines, natural gas lines, and also sewer lines. They also completed the installation of a CDS hydrodynamic separator. This is a vortex separator that separates trash, and this is part of our stormwater treatment requirements. This also included the installation of a corrugated and perforated pipe. It's a huge pipe that's now underground, and this will help with stormwater infiltration at the site. They also completed the installation of rebar, plumbing, and floor drains for the future aquatics building. They poured over 600 cubic yards of concrete for the new aquatics building footprint. This was an operation that started at 6 in the morning and ended up closer to 8 p.m. at night. So it was a massive concrete operation. They also began the installation of the rebar and the concrete masonry unit or CMU walls for the new aquatics building. They completed rough grading and excavation for the competition swimming pool, the activity pool, and the therapy pool. They have laid out trench and backfill plumbing lines for the activity pool. They completed fine grading and trimming for the competition pool, began fine trimming and grading for the activity pool, and also began installation of rough plumbing for the activity pool. They have also routed the project submittals and requests for information to Ardura, our construction management firm, and they have also been ordering equipment, materials, and supplies for the project. Here we see some of the progress photographs for the construction sites. So starting with the upper left, we see the new chain link fence. In the center, we see some of the rebar in preparation for the massive concrete pour, which is shown on the upper right. And the next two photos on the middle left in the middle show the beginning of the construction of the building itself with the block walls. On the lower left, we see trenching for some of the plumbing. And again, the two photos on the lower right, more continued installation of the CMU block. On these photos here, we see continued construction of the building itself on top. The center photo, you can already see the building starting to take shape. So you can already see the imprint of the building itself. On the center right, we see preparation for another concrete pour that took place for the secondary part of the new building. On the lower left, you see the fine trimming for the competition pool. In the lower center photo, you see trenching for the activity pool area, which again will include the play area for the kids. And another photo on the right showing the 50-meter competition pool grading. These two photos show an aerial representation of what the site looked like. This is what it looks like now with all its elements. So one orientation on the left, the orientation on the right, again, you can see the construction of the building. There's the competition pool, and on the right, we start to see the activity pool with the play area. So it's really taking shape out there. As far as future activities that are coming up for construction, on December 4th, we anticipate the completion of a concrete pour for the activity pool. And also that same day, the installation of the perimeter CMU block walls will be completed. On February 13, 2025, we anticipate the completion of a concrete pour for the competition pool. On February 27th, we anticipate the installation of the aquatics building metal roofing system. On February 28th, we anticipate the completion of the concrete pour for the therapy pool. This pool is going to be done at the end because right now that area is being used for ingress and egress for the construction equipment and materials.
Bernie, could you go back to the aerial photo that you have to show where the therapy pool will be located, since we can't see it currently?
Yes, so that's the area shown here. So again, you can see the tracking of the construction equipment. And that's why it's going to wait till the last phase of the project so that it does not impact the ingress and egress of the labor that's going on at the site.
Thanks.
On July 2nd, we anticipate the completion of the installation of permanent power to the new facility. On July 30th, we anticipate completion of the installation of the shade structures. On July 31st, we anticipate the completion of installation of the trees and the shrubs. And finally, on September 26th, that's when we anticipate substantial project completion. So again, by that time, all the project elements will be installed and we would just be down to punch list items and commissioning of all the equipment that will be there, including the chlorinator for the new facility. In
Bernie,
regard,
just real quick since you use these terms regularly, when you say punch list items, these would be kind of the finish items, like checking to make sure the switches are working, the
That
plugs
is-
work,
that
things
is
turn on.
correct. So what we do at substantial completion is we walk the whole site. And I'm gonna walk that site with the architect, with the engineer, with my construction manager. And any item that is not in accordance to our specifications, whether it's a bolt that needs to be torqued a little more, anything in between, that would make it into that punch list. So again, all the project elements are already there. It's just fine tuning, if you will, of the remaining items. So again, as far as the Aquatic Center programming, the Recreation and Community Services Department and its staff continue to host swim lessons and recreational swim for the Bell Gardens community at the Holyfield Pool in the city of Montebello. And the Recreation and Community Services Department has also received $20,000 in grant funds, which has allowed the city to provide over 600 free swim lessons to Bell Gardens residents. In regard to the fiscal impact, the project budget is a little over $31 million, and it consists of various funding sources, including from the Land and Water Conservation Fund, from Supervisor Janice Hahn, from Assemblymember Cristina Garcia, Congresswoman Roybal Allard, and also some CDBG funds, along with general funds. The project costs themselves are also anticipated to be a little over $31 million. And you can see on this table how that is split between the different disciplines as part of this project. Not listed here as part of the project, but anticipated ongoing operating and staffing costs are estimated to be in the range from $1.8 million to $2.7 million net of any annual revenues received. And again, this will depend on how we decide to operate the new facility. In conclusion, staff will continue to keep the city council informed of the construction progress, and we will also continue to seek outside funding sources to try to minimize the impact to the general fund. Staff recommends that the city council receive and file the John Anson Ford Park Regional Aquatic Center improvements update.
And Bernie, if I can just add, if you can stay on that page that you had there,
Sure.
just for council's perspective, the second bullet point there, the likelihood that there are additional outside funding sources at this point, I think are pretty minimal. So we continue to work on that. But I think we're at a point where the reality is the city will have a $31 million pool for under $15 million. The likelihood that additional funding from the federal government is not likely because it would just stop the project almost completely due to compliance issues and things like that that come along with federal funding. The state's, I think, budgetary condition makes it probably unlikely that funding will materialize from the state. And I think the county, we continue to ask from the county's perspective, but there was a significant investment of $4 million. And it seems the likelihood at this point is pretty slim on additional funding. But to cover approximately 55% of the funding with grant funding, I think was a pretty good percentage there, especially for the size of the facility that the city's going to receive.
Thank you, Mr. O'Kelly. That concludes my presentation. And at this point, I would be happy to answer any questions.
I have a question, Madam Mayor, if I may. So the completion, the final walkthrough is on September.
Correct. September 26th, as of right now, is what we're anticipating. We're on
Okay.
schedule. We have 20 rain days built into our schedule because right now we are in what's considered to be the rainy season. So as of right now, we don't have any delays.
Thank you. And do we have a plan for synchronized programming to launch relatively near to that date, or what does the plan look like, more or less?
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem. Yes, staff is working on developing programming determined by council, of course. And the plan would be to open our fall swim lessons at our new facility. So we'll host spring and summer swim lessons at Chet Holyfield Pool in Montebello, and then open in the fall at our facility. Is that the question? Am I
Yeah,
answering incorrectly?
Around which month are you guys planning on?
Oh, in
more?
October.
October, okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then another question very quickly. Do you have the website updated, the page for the aquatics project with the aerial shots that we just saw?
We continue to update the website in regard to the aerial photo. At this point, I'm not sure it's already up there, but we will,
Okay.
if it's not, definitely by tomorrow.
I
we'll get
think
it
the
there.
most recent update we have on there is from October 2027. So everything's moving so fast, it's probably maybe not the aerial photo that's up there, but we can.
No
add
worries.
to it.
That would be a nice thing to include on the page, just so that we can show our residents how close we're getting to the grand opening of this project. But thank
Along-
you for all your hard work. I appreciate it.
No problem. I would do want to say along with that area, I'm also trying to get a time lapse video up that'll show the project from inception to date.
That would be
So I'm
nice.
working really hard to be able to link it up to that website as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, may I have a motion to receive and file this report?
I make a motion to receive and file the report.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Sanchez de Leon and a second by Councilmember Chavez. City Manager, will you please, I'm sorry. Hello.
Yes. Yes, thank you, members of the council and successor agency Chavez.
Aye.
Councilmember Sanchez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Barcina,
Yes.
and Mayor Gomez.
Yes. Okay, City Manager, will you please announce discussion item number 14?
Yes, thanks again, Mayor Gomez. This item is consideration of appointment of a council member to serve on the Mobile Home Parks Ad Hoc Committee due to pending vacancy. So just by way of reminder, the city staff, based on direction from the council, requests from residents, has been working on mobile home park issues, citywide, but also focused on one particular park. At the moment, at the last council meeting, council directed staff to send letters to our two local elected officials, which were sent at the end of last week. I believe we've got a response already from at least one of the elected officials' staff. Also, one of the other direction was to create an ad hoc committee with Mayor Gomez and Councilmember Chavez. Mayor Gomez, last week we talked prior to the agenda being put out, and out of concern for continuity, suggested that we bring this item back to council since based on the preliminary election results, it doesn't look like the mayor will be on the council after December 9th, and so it would potentially make sense for council to consider a replacement for that seat. Thank you to the mayor for being considerate in that regard. And so with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. And the item is, the recommendation would be to potentially appoint a new member to the ad hoc committee to replace the current mayor. Thank you, Mayor.
Would it be possible to table this item into a future meeting so that we can then select the additional ad hoc committee member at that time?
Yeah, yes, Councilmember Sanchez.
I also have a question about that because considering that there is a meeting scheduled for tomorrow morning. So, yeah.
So Mayor Gomez, I spoke with the other ad hoc committee member. The other ad hoc committee member was okay with deferring the meeting. And I will share with the council, not having the meeting is not slowing down the work that we're doing with the elected official, with HCD, and with inspections in that regard. So while the committee is of value, the staff still has direction from council as to, continue to get improvements. So I hope that answers your question, Mayor.
If I may, real quick, jump on this, and I appreciate that this is brought forward. What I would say is, my hope for the committee, and I think we talked about this in the last council meeting, was to continue to bring updates to the council. What's going on in the mobile home parks, right? We've had, I think, two items in the past council meetings where we've updated the council. I don't know if there's been a lot of activity since the last council meeting, aside from sending out the letters to the elected officials. I've had conversations with State Senator Lina Gonzalez's office in regards to this, but they're sort of in the preliminary stages. but they're willing to support. That's as far as that's as far as my report back on, after having conversations with them. So I'm glad to see that. But other than that, I don't think that there's much else.
All right, so if there's no further discussion, then may I have a motion? Well, we're going to table this.
Yeah, I'd
Correct.
like to
Okay.
make a motion to table this item to the future meeting, if that's possible.
And I'll second.
Right, City Clerk, please.
Just
conduct
for
a
the
roll call
record,
vote.
it's
Yes.
for the December meeting?
Correct.
Thank you.
City Clerk, please conduct a roll call vote.
Yes, members of the council and successor agency Chavez,
Aye.
Councilmember Sanchez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Barcina,
Yes.
and Mayor Gomez.
Yes.
If I may, and this might be a question of legal counsel in regards to this. I know that we said table to the next meeting. That would be,
Clarify.
okay, thank
Real
you.
quick, so the motion is not for the December 9th meeting, it's for the following meeting after that. January meeting. Thank you.
And the reason for that is the council currently will be the one to take all the agenda items at the next meeting because the swearing in and reorg happened at the end of the December meeting.
Do we have the date for the next council, the first council meeting in January?
Oh,
January 13th.
13th? Okay. So the hope would be that the committee wouldn't meet until after January 13th. Got it. Got it. Okay.
That's when we
And,
would
and just for the
appoint
council, I mean, staff could, we could be ready for a meeting the following day, just in case the council made the ad hoc and the ad hoc were willing to meet the following day. We could be available to have a quick meeting after the appointment to the ad hoc.
And to clarify, you could have meetings up until December 9th with the current ad hoc because we do have that on the record as well.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, and now we will move to council member comments. Councilmember Chavez?
I just want to say thank you so much to staff for the amazing work that continues to be done. Really appreciate everyone's effort. I know we're approaching the holidays coming up in the next, I think 3 weeks or so. I think Thanksgiving or Indigenous Peoples Week lands on the last week of November this month. Usually it's like a week before, but Thursday and Friday happen to land as the last couple of days of November. So looking forward to that. I think we have one more. We don't have another council meeting. I think this is the last one before December 9th. And I just appreciate everyone's opportunity to continually serve. We had the election and I'm very grateful for the residents of Bell Gardens. I appreciate the opportunity to continually serve in the council, and it means a lot. So with that said, thank you for everyone's hard work. Really appreciate everything you do. Your work does not go, in the dark. We see it all day, every day. Especially within the last couple of days, like the beginning of November. I had a lot of late night drives across the city, putting up lawn signs, taking down lawn signs and stuff. And I think I saw like our PD officers at least 7 different times throughout one night. And I don't know if it's just that we have 7 units or if it was just the same 4 units going around the whole city, 3-4 units. But it was good. They were out there, and I just appreciate all the work. And I saw them firsthand multiple times. So with that said, again, thank you for everything our public works staff has been doing with this project of the pool. It's huge. Right, it's transformational. We had our grand opening of Vision Works, which was a great grand opening. Steven and I were there, and I know we had BG Chamber of Commerce was also there, and we're the first location in Southeast LA to get Vision Works. They do optical and vision and help you get some contacts or glasses. They take a lot of different insurances. So I'm glad to see that we have that new in the city. I got to take a tour of it. Really grand showing of different the folks that are involved in making this possible. I looked up in the map, I just Googled what other Vision Works there are around here. I think there's one in Brea, Anaheim. What we're like the first in Southeast LA. Right. And it's good. They're in a good intersection, Eastern and Florence. And it's exciting to see that we have that here in Bell Gardens. So another option for the residents. All of the staff that work there also are bilingual, which is key because we have a big Spanish population within the community. So glad to see that. And I got to speak directly with the manager of the location. And that was this on Thursday or Friday morning, one of those two, Friday morning, I think. But with that said, thank you so much for everybody for coming out. Great council meeting, and looking forward to the next one. Thank you. Have a great night.
Councilmember Sanchez.
First and foremost, I want to say happy Veterans Day to everybody that has served, especially our city manager, Mr. O'Kelly, and all the Bell Gardens PD officers that have served as well, and the community members. I think it was really important to highlight Mr. Gutierrez today, especially because he's lived in Bell Gardens so long and he does have a lot of roots and foundation within our community. So thank you so much to the mayor and the city for acknowledging Mr. Gutierrez. Thanks once again to all the staff for all the hard work. I know that the next couple of months are just gonna fly by with all the events and activities that we have. And I truly appreciate everything that you guys do, especially during the holidays where many of us get to be home with our families and a lot of you guys are out there working for our community. So thank you so much and have a great night.
Mayor Pro Tem Barcena.
Thank you to staff for everything you do. I know it was a hard last few weeks because of the elections, both locally and at a federal level. But I think that we're in good hands. I think that everyone did the best that they could, and I appreciate everyone's effort. I think the people that I know are doing things for the right reasons. I am proud of staff and all the work that they've been doing for the last few years. It's been incredible. Thank you, Liz, and welcome back. I know you've been out of town for a little while, but looking at the project and seeing the progress that we made, I'm just very happy and ecstatic to see the project complete. Thank you, Bernie, for stepping in and continuing the work that has been started for many, many years. I appreciate it. And in terms of the federal election, I just have a few comments. I'm an immigrant. I was born in Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico, and I came here when I was 10 years old. And, there are deep concerns in regards to who our president is, what he stands for. And I just want everyone to know that I'm going to do whatever I can to protect our residents, to educate our residents, to be prepared for whatever comes our way. I have family, they're immigration lawyers, they're very concerned. But that's why we're here, and I believe in the leadership of this council. I believe that we will come up with creative ideas to do our part. Of course, it's not directly under our jurisdiction, or our ability to protect is limited, but we're still going to do whatever we can. And thank you, everyone, for showing the support both here in City Hall and outside. I appreciate it. And everyone have a great week. That's all. Thank you.
Well, happy Veterans Day. Oh,
Happy Veterans
for your
Day. I'm so
service.
sorry.
thank you
Happy
to the
Veterans
chief
Day.
and to everyone, our staff and all of our residents, anyone who has served in the military. Thank you for your service. I also want to say congratulations to Councilmember Chavez, to Ms. Guillen, to our planning commissioner, Miguel de la Rosa. There's some fresh new blood coming in. It's a hard job. It's not an easy job to do. There's a lot that's coming down the pike, especially with the new federal administration. So it's going to weigh heavy. It's going to weigh heavy, and continue, considering that we have a highly immigrant population in our city. I think that it's incumbent upon all of us to make sure that people have the information that they need, to try and dispel the misinformation that may be out there regarding, what people can expect or what's going on. So I'm confident that you guys will be able to do that, to make sure that people feel safe, that they feel that they are being heard, and let's give them all of the tools that they can possibly have at their disposal to protect themselves and their families. That's what I ask of everyone here. I want to thank the council for the confidence that you guys had in me to appoint me to this position, to fill the vacancy. As you know, it's expensive to run a special election, right? So I'm happy to have served the city of Bell Gardens. I'm so incredibly impressed with staff, with all of our departments, with all of the work that you do. People have no idea. People really have no idea how much work you do for this city. And they're very lucky to have you. So thank you. Have a good night. Have a happy Thanksgiving, everyone. And we'll see each other at the next meeting.
I was also going to say one more thing. Happy birthday to our city manager. It was his birthday when Friday?
It actually didn't happen. No, it was on Thursday. It was last Thursday.
Last Thursday. So happy birthday to a city manager, and then also happy Veterans Day. Thank you.
Happy early birthday to Chief Camacho.
Thank you, Chief. Happy birthday, Chief.
When,
All right,
when
we're
is
all
that,
gonna
when is that, Chief? Oh, all right.
next Monday. All right, turning the big 25, huh? Hey, Chief, we're talking about your age, not about the squad number, man. You know, the squads, the cars have the little number at the top.
He said that was his height, 5'3". I think it's
Oh, okay. Oh,
All right. And with that, I will officially adjourn the meeting at 7:19 PM. Thank you, everyone.
have a good night.